So the loan process that we do when we are going through it, so when you refer someone to me and you say, hey, they want to purchase a house or condo, can you see if they qualify? These are the steps that I'm taking. Um, I don't see if you have questions, just go ahead and chime in because I'm not looking at raising your hand or anything. Okay, guys? So just go ahead and chime in. Um, First step is, I will have a conversation with them and just kind of scrub a file with them like, hey, how are you? How long have you been on your job? Tell me what you think your credit is like. That is called like a pre-qualification, where we will go ahead and ask all of the questions like, okay, I think this guy might be ready to move forward or not. But asking for documentation yet, that's called the pre-qualification. When I ask for documentation, now that is a pre-approval. So based on that initial conversation that we have, uh, then I'll say, okay, well, it sounds like you're ready to move forward. And then they'll ask me, what's the next step? So like, okay, well, let's go ahead and get all your documentation and get your application in. And because millennials have changed the way we do our business now, everything's done on your phone, a tablet, on your computer, you never have to go in. So now we have an application that's, easy for them to fill out. It's online. They can upload all their documents in there. I can review them live. I can be on the phone with them as they're doing it. Some people, they're just not savvy. So I'll still do an application with them. Like I'll ask them, except for I'm not writing it down on paper anymore. It's in the system. So we will gather all that information, find out where they're at, run their credit report. The next step would be we would get an appraisal after you're under contract. And we always explain that to them. Like you really need to get an inspection, talk to your realtor, because they're going to give you really good advice on what the next step is. Once you are pre-approved, you're going to go shopping with them. You go under contract, you should probably get an inspection. And that's your part. I don't like to step on your toes on that, but we definitely talk to them about that. And then once you do that, we order your appraisal, we get your value in there, we make sure that the property is insurable. HOAs on a condo is a huge deal right now. I think I was just talking to either Jackie or Jennifer, one of the girls, on this, where we are having to get HOA docs before they go under contract just to find out where they're at on their HOA, like if it's healthy or not. So what Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are requiring is for them to have at least a 10% reserve in that HOA account, just in case they need it for anything else. And if there's any pending litigation, obviously we can't move forward on it, depending on what it is as well, or some maintenance that's been approved but just hasn't been completed. I mean, it just seems like we've been really struggling with condos and their HOAs and where they're at. The other new thing that we've come across lately is Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac and even FHA, they master policy is their deductible is over 5%. So what's been happening is if there's a lot of maintenance work, instead of raising the HOA dues for their clients, I'm sorry, for their homeowners, what they've been doing is just raising that deductible to 10%. And if that happens, it kills our deal. We can't even move forward with it. There's nothing we can do. So when you're out there and working with with condos, and you have to pull those HOA docs, please ask for that master policy ahead of time, because that'll save you a lot of time if you can either move forward or not. So anyways, I just thought I'd throw that in there. I know that's not part of my step 3, but your final loan approval is really going to be,
No, but that's important to us to know that,
it's
because
very important.
how would we know to look for it? You know?
I've been educating a lot of realtors on that because they just count on us. But I mean, how far are you in the transaction by the time you figure that out? And if you're working with a lender that's not, that, it's not very common for them, or they're just not versed in it, you could be really far in your transaction. And like we always order a condo questionnaire, and those things are not cheap. The borrower has to pay for it, and it goes anywhere between $500 to $1,100 is what I've seen, just to find out how many owner occupants are in the property. What is the minutes, the last 6 months of the minutes on that property. And in those minutes, that they're going to talk about what the problems and issues are in that, complex. So in that development, we need to know what they've been talking about for the last 6 months and what's going to be being like going to come up as far as maintenance work. So you could, definitely do your due diligence up front and save yourself some time, because you could be the greatest agent, find the greatest property, but if the HOA is not healthy, it doesn't matter. It's going to kill your deal. So
So,
don't wait. Go
so
ahead.
what is, you mentioned 10% reserves, the
Yeah.
HOA requirements. That's kind of what we're looking for. Anything else that we're
Yes.
looking for in regards, like, do you have?
Master policy deductible on their insurance is over 5%.
So
Those,
wait, one more time. I think it cut off. So the master policy, not over 5%, you said?
that's right. A maximum of a 5% deductible.
Okay.
If it's an automatic kill your deal, like it's going to be denied. And it has a borrower. It's just the HOA. And I'll tell you that these HOA docs, they're not easy to read. I almost feel like you have to be an accountant, or a CPA to read them, because in their budget they have like, well, this and that. I was like, I'm not an accountant. How am I supposed to know? But they'll have one reserve account, and then they'll put all of that money into another reserve account. And so it looks like they don't have any money, but they do. They just transferred it to another account. So it's really important to know how to read these.
Okay.
Um, so thanks for bringing that up to our attention. But isn't there something now? Oh, I guess this is the same thing. That's what's happening now, right? That if there's not enough coverage, then the lender won't move ahead with the loan.
They
That's what you're
cannot.
saying, right?
Right. And it's
Mm.
not our rule. It's not like an independent lender. Like it's not me or Guaranteed Rate or Guild Mortgage. We all have to follow the same rules. So it's a
So
Fannie
let me
Mae.
ask you a question.
Okay.
If, say, for example, um, I have a listing at Punahou Gardens, um, is it something that I can ask the lender? Can I ask them if their master policy is okay? Like, can you as a lender look it up before we get the condo docs to let us
So
know?
So I don't know if on your listings they have any condo docs available for you to review, but if we already know like there's an HOA management company, if you're talking to your lender to say, hey, I'm thinking about putting an offer on this property, can you check out the HOA for me? Then we're going to do everything in our power to, number one, find out if it's warrantable. And that means that it says it's approved in Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac's website. So we'll look it up. We have a web page that we go to, but also HOA management, if we can contact them and say, hey, can you give us a copy of your master policy? We want to see what your insurance looks like. And the other one was a fidelity bond that also had to be like $1 million coverage. That's the other thing that was a big deal to us. So yeah, we should be able to reach out to them for you to get this information. I don't know if other lenders are willing to do that, but to me it's really important. Like, I don't want you to waste your time, and I want you to be able to know you can count on me to find these things out for you. If I have resistance, then that's when I reach back to the realtor and say, hey, I'm not having any luck with this HOA management company. They're not giving me any information. Let's ask the owner, because they have access to it for free, normally on a website where they can just set up their account, get a login and a password, and gather all this information for us. But yeah, anytime, like, I always try my best to get as much information as I possibly can, because I don't want to waste your time. I don't want them having to pay for an inspection while we're waiting for these HOA condo docs to come in, or the questionnaire, and they're putting money into this deal that's not going to close, and it has nothing to do with them.
Okay, yeah, so that makes sense. I'm just trying to figure out how, well, now that we know, I guess, because we don't usually order the condo docs until after we open escrow, because it is expensive.
Yeah, it
So
is.
just trying to figure it out.
I mean, but there's still a way that we can actually, at least bare minimum, get the master policy to find out what that deductible is and their coverage. Because again,
Okay.
I mean, if that master policy shows that they have a 10% deductible, then there's no reason for you to order anything else or even make an offer at that point.
Mm.
I
Okay.
know, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is,
I know. Oh, I'm sorry.
Go
I
ahead. You just go ahead.
um so I know Jennifer is recording this, but are we going to have notes on this?
Yes,
So we
you
have
actually,
something to go back on?
Yeah, the
yeah,
recorder it makes notes too. So my recorder makes notes.
you'll have notes and then you'll have access to all the PowerPoints. And again, I mean, if you ever have any questions, I'll actually pull some information from Fannie or Freddie and email it to you guys.
Okay, thank you.
Also, also, Francis, I think like whenever like if we have listings or if you're trying to get more information and like the HOA stuff, I would just if I was gonna do digging, I would just call the building manager and just try to get them on the phone and just have a conversation and see if they know anything. Jackie is also connected with a few. I'm sure you're connected too with a few other agents that manage buildings or have experience in certain buildings. I don't know. So I know Jackie's helped me out in the past because she would just call like the building manager, and then talk to someone who's kind of above there, and then she'll just be like, "Oh, what do you know about this building?" And then just talk story, and they kind of tell you. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah, just any information you can get up front is really helpful for everybody, all parties involved. And then 9 out of 10, I mean, the HOA management companies, they will know if there's some kind of litigation going on. I know we're kind of getting off subject, but I've been doing some open houses right there at the condos right in Hawaii Kai. And after sitting there talking to a realtor for like 10, 15 minutes with a client, he was like, okay, well, since you seem to know so much about condos, let me tell you what's going on. And in this building, we're going to be replacing the swimming pools. So yes, they're going to have a special assessment for that. And then in the elevator, when we were coming down, we met a homeowner and he was like, the other thing that they're going to be doing is there's going to be an assessment for windows and it's $100,000 per unit. So the realtors, agents, and HOAs, they know what's going on in those buildings. You just have to press them a little bit more. So but anyway, so yeah, that's what we have on condos and HOAs. Is those just seem to be like a real issue that keep coming up. So I thought I'd mention that and just give you a little bit more information on that.